Women don't need to find a voice. They have a voice and they need to feel empowered to use it. And people need to encourage to listen. These are the words of Meghan Markle. Today's women play a vital role in human progress and own a significant place in the society. Women take the global role as caretakers, educators, and entrepreneurs. They are no more inferior to men. Women are capable of sharing all the responsibilities of life. Throughout history, the central role of women in society has ensured the stability, progress, and long term development of nations. Women empowerment has been a rising topic for ages, and literature has been enriching women empowerment by serving as a medium for the supporters in designing their protagonists as how they picture them in their mind. Department of English, AGK College of Arts and Science, in association with English Literary Research Center, takes immense pleasure in welcoming you all for the 6-day international conference from 21st February to 26th February on the topic literature and its impact on women empowerment. I now call upon Professor Shiva Prakash, Head English Literary Research Center, for the welcome address.
Thank you, ma'am. As Francis Regional Scott says, the cakes are sweet, but sweeter is that one is mixing with the literati. On behalf of AJK College of Arts and Science, Kovai, and English Literary Research Center, we welcome the Secretary, the Principal of AJK College, Arts and Science, Kovai, and Dr. Jasmine, Language HOD, and various professors and head of the departments, research scholars, students. I welcome you all. And this is the topic literature and its impact on women empowerment. As Kofi Annan says, there is no other tool for women empowerment than education and language. So this is an apt topic for this contemporary period, and I hope you can enjoy the entire session of the 6-day international conference program. Thank you, and I wish you all the best for the college and for the management and for the HOD of the language and all. Thank you.
Good afternoon, all. On behalf of AJK College of Arts and Science, I welcome our resource person, Mr. B. Padmanabhan, Assistant Professor, Department of English and Foreign Language, Bharatiyar University, Coimbatore. He has completed his PhD in Dravidan University, Kuppam. Mr. B. Padmanabhan has completed one project and also one ongoing project in RUSA. He has also presented 18 international journals and also 12 international conference papers. It is a privilege and pleasure to have you with us, sir. Thank you for accepting our invitation for this event. Now I request Mr. B. Padmanabhan to proceed on the topic.
Yes. Thank you, ma'am. Good evening to all the participants of this event. I have to thank the management of AJK College of Arts and Science College for organizing such an event. I have to thank Dr. Jasmine, the head of the Department of Languages, AJK College, and the English Literary Research Center, the office bearers, and all the professors over there at the English Literary Research Center for organizing such a wonderful faculty development program. So, when it comes to such discussion, when we talk about the faculty development programs in the recent times, we have this technological advancement of advantage of hosting an event to very many participants. And so this event, now when it comes to this event, um, we will be discussing on those aspects, the aspects like empowerment of women and how it is portrayed in the literary works, especially the way literature is read in the present era is entirely different. No, we don't read literature in the traditional ways. No, we are reading literature in multiple new ways. We read literature for purposes which are not identified in the past. So we are from a place, no? So when we are from Coimbatore, we know that literature is being taught in a medical college. So I don't know about other places, no, in other places somewhere in Tamil Nadu or in other places in India, but you all might have read in the newspaper that literature is being taught in an engineering in a medical college. Now they call it as medical humanities. That how literature is used for the purposes of therapy. How literature is used as a therapy. So that is how people use literature now. No, that is how literature has been read nowadays. No, so from 1950s, it was entirely different way that literature is approached from an entirely different way that it has offered many explanations for the problems that the humanity has faced. One such is that now the ability to interpret, so literature or the way we approach literature, these things have offered us very very new perceptions about how we approach a literary text. So while in such a literary text, we have the presentation of human nature. That is what many of literary critics believe, that what is that we um, acquire, what is it we see in literature is that, no, in the traditional discussions, we used to believe that literature is a mirror of the society. Literature is reflecting the society. And now, about all these things, beyond all these things, there is a new concept which offers everything that is related to human life. Like it gives a new perception about how human memory works. That we trace the the how human memory works from the reading of literature. Now, many of you might have seen there is a memory studies network in IIT Madras, in other places also. What is it they do? No, they are not analyzing. They are not breaking the head of some person and opening the human brain. But what is it they do? They they try to understand the intricacies of human memory through reading of a literary text. It's a memory reading consciousness. what kind of consciousness, what kind of human activity is happening. It offers everything new. When Sigmund Freud attempted to explain his concept of consciousness the using literature, he has explained the concepts, psychological concepts, using literary texts. In the same way, there are new ways, by which we understand the consciousness, human consciousness, the working of human consciousness. Dreams, why do they occur? Why do dreams occur? It was Sigmund Freud explained that the suppressed feelings found an expression. They are expressed in dreams. But now, modern research, with the help of literary creation and other things, it establishes that dreams are there, in order to augment human memory, in order to purify and augment human memory. That is the purpose for why we have dreams. And when it comes to the other elements, the evolution of culture, how this culture uh, molds the society, or how the society molds the individuals, the individual and social interaction. Now we have theories which can explain these concepts. And when it comes to the queer behavior, right? So for that also we have multiple explanations based on scientific elements. So why literature is used for all these purposes, to interpret society, to interpret the functions of the society, to interpret the functions of human memory, to interpret the evolution of human culture. Now, anything that is human is interpreted with the help of literature. Now, that is why I have to appreciate the organizers for choosing this, that how women's voice, or how women's empowerment is possible with the help of literature. Now literature has that ability, the transformative ability, deconstructing. In the past, there was a concept. No, there were only two concepts. One believed that literature is for preaching, and other believed literature is for pleasing. One called art for life's sake, and the other called it art for art's sake. But now, literature has both the functions. It can please, and at the same time it can preach. And not only preach, it has the ability to transform. No, it is a psychic transformation. It can mold the character of individuals. It can affect, it can transform individuals, right? So that is the power of literature. Now, people now understood that literature has more benefits. It helps in multiple ways. Not only it augments memory, it makes our perception multiple. Now, beyond all these things, there is another quality that literature has, is it has the ability to transform human life. And based on this opinion only, the many medical schools in the USA have introduced a course called medical humanities, understanding the value of literature, why literature matters. Many of you might have read this book, which is called Why Literature Matters in the 21st Century. There is a book in the title, Why Literature Matters in the 21st Century. Why do we read novel in the 21st century? These are books, they insist upon why it is necessary. Why it is necessary to read literature in this period, when we depend largely upon gadgets, on artificial intelligence, why it is required. So many people advocate, people like Alan Richardson, people Lisa Sunshine, all these people, they advocate that literature is needed more than any time, because literature is largely humanizing. It makes people, or it teaches us what is it to be human. What are human traits? How are we different from the machines? How our intelligence is different from the artificial intelligence? So, in such a scenario, that we depend on literature for all these purposes. The first is the ability of literature to expose or to present human nature, and then it paves way for understanding how human interaction can help in multiple ways. So, keeping all these things in our mind, now we shall go to the presentation. I believe that the topic that we have chosen is from a very popular work. Now, whenever people talk about women empowerment, they used to quote Maya Angelou. So, I thought it will be apt if we can begin this session with Maya Angelou's the world-renowned phrase "Still I rise." So, with all obstacles, no, it was such a, positive or optimistic approach that she followed when her race, when her gender was subjugated by various reasons. No, it is not only subjugated because of the gender. And her condition is quite different, no, because there are many factors: the racial, the color, the identity, and gender. All these things worked for the subjugation of women in her case. But even that, no, she rises against. No, she states in that work that you may try to subjugate me using anything, no, a tradition, history, or any possible thing, but I will rise. That is what she portrayed. So in this, um, the when it comes to women's voice, we talk about the power politics, the ability to acquire power. It may be social or uh, cultural, and then resilience. So, how resilience is portrayed? The ability to withstand subjugation. If someone falls a prey to subjugation, then everything is over. We need not talk about anything. But there is resilience. What is that resilience? The ability to withstand all sorts of subjugation. If someone subjugates, oppresses, women have the ability to voice against, to fight against such kind of oppression. So resilience and women's voice. No, though we will come across with few of the literary examples, of course, and we shall see now why it is necessary, how literature is efficient in discussing the problems faced by the women, and how it is successful in making the women to understand the problems actually faced by them. No, they have faced different kinds of problems. No, you might have seen that women's activism from the beginning, from the 19th century began, and the voice against oppression also is visible. That the women have fought against this oppression. They try to revolt against the social conditions in multiple ways. Now, we cannot say that it happens only in India, it happens only in Africa. It is not so. It happened everywhere. So, the problems, women have faced the problems in almost all the places. It is not only in India, it is not only in Africa. Uh, they have faced even in Europe. So they had conflicts with the patriarchal society. In the Europe, the male-centered constructions of the Western philosophical thought, they have quarreled against the social norms which segregated women, which um, uh, which rejected women from the from the centrality of discussions. So in all these elements, women have raised their voice. In the beginning, they have raised for voting rights, equal rights, and then they have asked for rights to work, to earn, and economic independence. And then they've asked for equality in all social roles. No, because society has discriminated women, fixing certain roles, making it that only these gender, this gender only can perform these activities. This gender can perform these activities. Like the gender roles were decided. That women understood the social norms, the traditional constructions, the cultural impositions, all from the voices that are raised in literature, and how literature contributed to the emergence of women's voices is what we are going to see. Now, let me go to the other slide. Yes. So, as I told you, the problem is not only in India. Even when Bronte sisters, Emily Bronte and Charlotte Bronte, when they wrote their works, they wrote in a male pseudonym. They have not written as Emily Bronte or Charlotte Bronte. They have written in a male pseudonym with a male name. Because at the time people never accepted that um, um, uh, women can write literary texts. So, fearing that their books may be rejected by the publishers, they have wrote in male pseudonym, and that was a thing that happened in the previous century. But what happened in the modern contemporary period? No, the situation is almost the same. Now, when J.K. Rowling attempted to write a phenomenal success. Harry Potter is such a phenomenal success. Now, before she began to write this Harry Potter, she wrote with a male pseudonym, but that book was published in the recent times. No, Galbraith or something, Robert Galbraith. That was the name that she used for writing um, her work. So in all these things, what happened is that this is the scenario that it is not easy for women to express their voice even in literature. Because if someone knows that this book is written by a woman, then they won't pay a serious attention to that. Now that is what the scenario, that is what the social condition that was prevailing at that time, in the period. Because people thought that they write only about pleasure, they write only about things which are used for pastime, like that. But the authors, so it is difficult for a woman even to express their voice in literature, because they cannot express. So they have fought against it. Is from the ages of Bronte sisters. They fought against the patriarchal system. They raised their voice against all these imbalances, inequalities that were prevailing in the society. So they raised their voice. They advocated for their rights. What are the rights? No, there are many rights. No, every right is rejected. That woman is not given any of these rights. No, even the right to express. So the existentialists, existential philosophers, believed that the expression is essential for our existence. So if we cannot express anything, our existence will be subjected to some questioning. We cannot be existing, cannot exist if we cannot express. So what they have brought out is that the women who expressed in literature is that they have expressed vigor, strength, kindness, resilience, intellect, all these qualities, which were considered by many as these are the qualities of men. Vigor, strength, intellect, resilience are all associated with the male gender. People thought that these are qualities of male. Women may not have the strength, not only mental strength, even physical strength or mental strength. Now they say that is why they were called as weaker sex. That is how society has constructed. Now we cannot say. So the women are fighting in the battles. They are piloting the fighter jets. They work in the navy everywhere. There was no question about their physical strength. There was no question about their mental strength in the present era. But when it comes to the past, what happened is they were considered as people who are lacking strength. They do not have strength. They do not have that vigor. They do not have that resilience. They do not have intellect. So that is how the society looked at women. When women began to express their voice through literature, and how literature was used as a tool for emancipation. So how not only the writers, it is not only writing which liberates people, but reading also is a factor that liberates people. So how literature emancipated the people, emancipated, or how literature contributed to the process of emancipation of women is that it helps in investigating the patriarchal social structures. So how is the society constructed? What are the patriarchal structures that guide or that make the society, or that help the society in functioning? So how the society functions? What are the systems, the traditional systems which control the functioning of the society? So it will help to understand. It will probe. Literature will probe what are these systems that control the society. It may be power structures. It may be some patriarchal social structures. Every society is constructed on a hierarchical model. Now, though we may say that we are living in a equal society, a society that advocates equality, you cannot deny that the power that is bestowed on every individual is quite different. So we do not experience any equality. So there may be a political power, there is economic power, and that determines our roles in the society. That guides the way the society should function. So the social function, the function of the society, is largely controlled, is regulated, formulated by these systems, power structures. So literature will help. What are these things? What are the things that control the society? In some societies, it will be economy, it will be money. In some societies, it will be religion. So some societies will be dominated by the religion. The religion will determine in what way the society should function. Some societies will be controlled by some nationalistic ideologies, some political ideologies. So that is how the social function is always dominated or controlled. So, in most of the cases, literature presents human experiences. So, it presents human experience, how human beings experience in the society. In what way the society functions, how human beings live, how do they experience. And in most cases, what happens is literature presents only the masculine experiences. The protagonist, if some 20 or if there are 100 novels are published, 90 novels will be talking about the experiences of a hero, of a masculine person, of a male. Only 10 of the works, now even now only 10 of the works will discuss. Now you might have seen, no, in any artistic portrayal, no, in a movie, now if you happen to watch a movie, what is it happening? It narrates the experiences of a male. There'll be a hero, no, he will destroy with a punch, no, he may destroy a train, or he will stop a ship, or he may hold an aircraft. um, and there will be a female character. That female character will come and will sing a song with this male person, and after some time, no, she'll be weeping somewhere in the corner. Only such kind of a portrayal, no, this happens in the present era. uh, but true literature presents not only the masculine experience. No, these masculine experiences are portrayed, yes, in many of literary texts, and we may not consider them as purely literary texts. And what we try to understand is that, no, it is an experience. True literature will present the experience of every individual. It is not only a masculine experience. It will narrate the experiences of both male or female or anything. No, that is why even now we appreciate, we celebrate the the works of Russian literature. Why they are different from the other literatures is that, no, they portray the experiences of both male and female. No, they do not discriminate that only male should be a protagonist, and the entire work should talk about the experiences of male. No, not like that. No, that is why we celebrate these works of Russian literature, because they give equal importance to the experiences of both male and female. So literature portrays human nature, that how human beings act, how human beings perceive an information, how they will act in a particular situation, and how they will generate knowledge, how they will follow different things, how they will understand religious things, how they will understand scientific elements, and how they will understand political ideologies, like that. So in some cases it will be like that. No, so Europe, when it comes to the middle of 20th century, was obsessed with the spreading of political ideology. So when George Orwell was writing his novels, they were able to understand the political significance. There was nothing about gendered roles or anything, religion or anything. So it was all about political ideology, economic considerations. But in many cases, literature makes women to understand that their intellectual deliberations are restricted. So they understand that uh, their discussions, their intellectual discussions. So even now, no, when you happen to see in the television in the evenings, people will be sitting and shouting about various things. You will not be able to find female gender there, not much. Where they will be used. So in many cases, the female people will come and discuss about kitchen. They will discuss about cookery and other things. They are considered to be not so intellectual to take part in such kind of discussions about the international relations, about military strategies, about political strategies. So the women understood from the portrayals of literary texts, they have understood that their literary deliberations are restricted. They are not permitted. They are not involved in many of literary intellectual discussions, and they are restricted from cultural interactions. So this is how literature makes them to understand, no, your role in the society is this, and you are restricted from taking part in such kind of discussions, in cultural elements, in cultural interactions. You are not so permitted like that. um, Literature teaches them. And what kind of freedom is advocated is this: the freedom that advocated is freedom to marry. That is the first thing. No, so it is in patriarchal societies, women were not given freedom to choose the person to marry. So this is what is presented in Bronte sisters, in the novels written by Bronte sisters, in Jane Austen. Everywhere, no, the women were shown as people who do not have the choice to marry a person of their choice. They can marry any person. They have to marry a person that is, who was identified by the parents or guardians. They cannot marry a person of their own choice. So that was the first. Now, when it comes to an advocacy of women's right, that's the first thing. They advocate for freedom to marry, and then freedom to work. To work, that means, no, they can perform any work. No, they, in the previous generations, or there were segregations. No, only these works can be done by a woman, and these works cannot be done by woman. No, so permit a woman to perform these works. And what happens to earn? The next thing is to earn equal wages. Previously, yet again, no, there is one another problem. Yet another problem is that, no, same work will be performed by a male worker and a female worker, but the male will be paid higher wages, and the female will be paid lower wages. So all these things. So women raise their voice for these things, for freedom to marry, freedom to work, freedom to earn equally, and to live an equal life, life which is equal to the male gender. The right to property, right? So that was a big problem that these people have faced, women have faced, that they were not given any right in the property of their parents. But later on, what has happened is that, no, they have advocated for that. No, yes, equal rights were given, and social opportunity to perform their roles in the society. In the society, it is not only in the family. In the family, they were permitted to perform the roles of a mother, a grandmother, a sister. Like, they have their gendered roles, but in the society, they have their roles as teachers, their roles as administrators, their roles um, as politicians. So they demanded such roles to be given to them. No, so until then it was not given. So this kind of freedom is advocated through the literary texts. They advocated through literature that we require all these rights, all these freedom. Right. So in literature, most of women's voice. So who were all people who raised the voice of the female gender? So we have only listed down the people who are quite famous, who are dominant in their literary fields, and they're known for their literary creation in multiple ways. See, Margaret Atwood, Toni Morrison, Virginia Woolf, or when it comes to Indian scenario, it is Anita Desai, Shashi Deshpande, Bharati Mukherjee, Arundhati Rai, or Manju Kapoor. Uh, Many people, no, they advocated for the voice of um, women. So how women should take their responsibility. You know, so they not only advocated for revolting against, they have contributed to these things. What is that? A psychic transformation, transforming the woman. That is the first thing, making the woman to believe that she is not inferior. Psychologically, that was the belief system imposed on any woman. Women were made to believe that they were weaker. They are not psychologically strong enough. They are not mentally strong. They cannot manage any difficult scenario. That is how they were psychologically treated. No, they were made to believe that they are weaker sex. They were made to believe that they are the second sex. They are weaker. They are second. No, they cannot stand a chance to be treated on par with the male gender. That is how it was constructed. And these writers primarily focused on the psychic transformation, psychological transformation of women. They attempted to make the women to believe that they are not weaker sex. They are not inferior to male gender in any way. So they are they are equal, if not superior. So that is how they treated in all their works. They have contributed to such a belief system, to the emergence of such a belief system. That's the first thing that they have tried to make the women to believe that they are strong enough, that they are equal, that they are capable, that they are able, like a man. So there is no difference between a man and a woman. So they have destroyed all these sociological, patriarchal constructions of a woman, imposing again and again that the woman is inferior. So the um, first effect is on the psychological transformation of a woman. Literature helped women to believe that she is not inferior to a man. Psychologically strong, mentally strong, physically strong. And then it has made the women to advocate for their rights. So only people who believe in their own self will be able to advocate, to raise for their rights. So first thing, they advocated for their rights, and it has taught them. Literature taught the female gender or the women for self introspection, to analyze the strengths and weaknesses, the abilities and disabilities. That is the self introspection, making an introspection of their own self, analyzing their own self, coming out with, so yes, this is what I am capable of, this is what I am not capable of. So, like that, making a self discovery. They are made to discover themselves. They made a self discovery. So, these strong women, they have made women strong and capable of facing the challenges of life. So before that, it was taught that only male gender, man, is capable of facing the difficult challenges of life. But literature has taught, no, it is not that. Even a woman is capable of facing the challenges, going against the challenges of the society. So Simone de Beauvoir discussed. So she explained that how women are made to believe that they are inferior. Uh, so that is what she says. No, by birth there is no discrimination. By birth, man and woman are having the same kind of ability. That is what Simon de Beauvoir establishes. So again, Virginia Woolf also explains the same thing. But let us see. For example, Simon de Beauvoir believes that one is not born, but rather becomes a woman. So it is not the biological, psychological, economic fate, but it is the civilization, it is the culture, it is the social construction which produces a woman who is weak, who is weaker, and it is described as feminine. Now, that is how literature explains to women that they need not believe that they are inferior. The inferiority is a socially constructed or culturally constructed a phenomenon. It is not a psychological phenomenon. It is not economically determined, or it is not biological determination. So this is how women were made to believe, made to understand their role, their position in the society, and they were made to understand the problem is not with themselves. It is not within themselves. It is imposed from some other external source. So they were made to understand the problem that we are not provided equal opportunities. It is not that we are not capable of doing this, but we are denied because of a social or a cultural construct that women are weaker. So because of social and cultural constructs, their creative and critical expression is prohibited. That women were not permitted to express. Women were not permitted to criticize, express their voice. So women were made to understand, yes, this is the phenomenon. We are not permitted to express. We are not permitted to reveal our ideas. And the self-expression is regulated, is almost restricted. So they were not able to establish an identity for themselves. There was no identity for a woman. So women were not permitted to establish any identity. So women began to understand, when they read literature, they began to understand from the portrayal of literary texts. They began to understand, yes, these are the problems which are keeping us in this way, which are making us inferior to people, to male gender. So this is the first stage, where literature helps them to understand the problem, and they understand what are all the factors that keep us from the mainstream society. So in all the mainstream activity, in taking decisions, in all other activities, that male were presented as the centrally the controlling mechanism is with the male gender. And what is entirely different, why we are not given such um, liberty, is what understood by the women from the reading of literature. So literature helps women in multiple ways, to their empowerment in multiple ways. It first helps them to express. It provides them an outlet to reveal their ideas, to talk about their aspirations, to talk about their um, thought processes, and it also helps them to manifest their potential. See, when in the 20th century, in the beginning of 20th century, people struggled to understand what Virginia Woolf was writing. They're not able to comprehend what is written in this. So when Virginia Woolf was writing, when Dorothy Richardson was writing, they were not able to understand what has been written in this text. And only in the beginning of this 21st century, people were able to explain why a Virginia Woolf text is difficult. It is because Virginia Woolf talks about or presents 6 different states of consciousness, whereas human uh, brain is capable of processing only 3 different states of consciousness. But she presents 6 different states of consciousness. That is why it has become a difficult one to understand, where they advocate their rights to manifest their potential. They advocate their rights to explore the women's experiences in a historical, psychological, and social context. So far it has been neglected. What are the experiences that are registered, that are recorded in the literary text? Is that no? It's not only male, only male experiences were given importance, but literature helps the women in exploring their experiences from multiple contexts. It also helps them to understand the gender roles. What are the roles that are performed by different genders in different societies? In one particular society, male gender will be doing this. In another society, female gender will be doing this. Female gender will be given certain roles, and male gender will be given certain roles. And if anything contradicts, if any misunderstanding happens in the gendered roles, then they will give rise to conflicts. Why these conflicts happen, between male and female genders? That there may be domestic violences, or the violence that happens in uh, in the streets. No, you all might have heard about the multiple things that happen, right? So the violence against women in most progressive cities, metropolitan cities, they all happen because of gender role. No, the people who commit that mistake, no, stating that no, this woman is wearing such kind of a dress, no, that has motivated me to commit this crime. Like, they give such a shameful expression, such a shameful explanation. So it helps, many of literary texts help the women to understand the gender roles and how the conflicts emerge. The conflict may not be always a violence of physical act. It may be violence of a different kind. So it may be an indifference. It may be a wrong treatment, or unequal treatment of women. It may result in multiple things. So, literature helps to understand the gender roles and the conflicts that are created by the misunderstanding of these gender roles, and to understand, to comprehend the gendered realities. Now, what are all possible in the present time in this particular society? There are gendered realities. No, it is not always possible to go beyond those realities. Now, we may say that this is possible, this is possible. The society treats everyone equal, but there are certain things which are not at all possible, which are restricted when it comes to reality. So, to there are elements, which need to be understood in the society. Societies which are having certain realities. So we may advocate anything now. No, women are equal. Women are provided education. Everything. Women have the right to education. Like that, we can say, but we cannot say the same thing in Afghanistan. So there is a different reality. The gendered reality in Afghanistan is entirely different. No, there we need to understand that this is the reality. If you say that I will go against this, the result will be an entirely different thing. There are realities. So what presents? No, there is a work. There are works written by Khalid Hosseini, in Pakistan, in everywhere. No, in India. What happens to a woman of a metropolitan city, a woman of a village, a woman of a tribe? So everywhere, what are the realities that are possible? They are made to, women are able to understand these things from literary texts. They overcome the fears of reality. Yes, no, these are the ways by which we can overcome these realities. No, these are the things, but we can overcome. And in most cases, literature opts for literature expresses the women's question. What are the questions that are raised by the women? Why I am subjugated? Why are you treating as unequal? Why are you treating inferior? Why are you not giving me rights? Why are you not giving me voting rights? Why are you not giving me rights in your property? Why are you not giving me the right to choose the person to whom I can marry? Like these are the questions, that what are all the questions that women can raise against the system, against the patriarchal system, is possible, and that they can raise mostly through literature, through the literary expression. It is not the direct expression, or more than the direct expression. What is more effective, what is more powerful, is a question that is raised through a literary text. And so, most of the literary texts, they contribute to the emergence of social consciousness, a social consciousness, that the society develops a consciousness that it believes that I should not treat women as inferior. I should treat my mother, my sister, my whatever relation that they have, as equal. No, I should not burden them with work. I should not discriminate. This kind of social consciousness is possible by the presentation. It contributes to the progress and the changing perception of the society. The society changes its perception, alters its consciousness. So some of the characters, that manifest this empowerment. So, for example, the people which we have chosen from Harry Potter, and the others are from classics like Wuthering Heights, from Pride and Prejudice. These characters, for example, these are only for example. No, though we may have multiple characters. No, like in Anita Desai, she presents Maya, one of the beautiful stories. No, that Village by the Sea, or Monisha. In many cases, what they present, that women are capable of looking after a family, taking care of the society, or that is how they present. So they present these traits. When it comes to the traits, what kind of traits that they possess? Strong will, authenticity, originality, challenging the conventions. They have intelligence. So it cannot be compared. No? Usually it was considered that women have less intelligence, but these characters, or multiple other characters, or literature in general, portrays that how women are capable of, how intelligent they are, how they are compassionate, how they are humorous, and almost all the qualities that are found with a hero, with a male protagonist. So these characters also portray the same qualities. So in most of the cases, literature reflects the social function where women assert their identity in the society. They understand the process of empowerment, and it also portrays their role in the society. It advocates for gender justice. It advocates, it demands, and also it advances through various forms. No, it is found even in Indian literature. No? So from the works of Shobha De, though some people may believe that it is some kind of an erotic kind of text, it portrays the power struggles, that how a woman struggles to attain power in the social hierarchy. Shashi Deshpande talks about the social structures and breaking the norms, where Kamala Markandeya talks about the uh, the concept of a strong woman, one who is able to establish strength and identity for themselves. And Anita Desai, no, we talked about the characters who establish in the fluent way their ability to take care of everything. And Bharati Mukherjee or Manju Kapoor, in any of these people, they raise their voice against those social hypocrisies, social constructions that dominate a woman. And at the end, I can say that literature more than anything. So there may be political ideologies, economic structures, or legal constructions. More than anything, literature has contributed to the empowerment of women, no, by all these ways. No, it has made the woman to believe they are equal, and it has created a social consciousness among others, among the male peers, that women are equal, and it has altered the social consciousness. So, because all these reasons contribute to our argument that literature contributes to the empowerment of women in almost all possible ways. So I think, it is time. So I take this opportunity to thank the organizers, the management, the principal, and the head of the Department of Languages, Jasmine Madam from AJK College, and other faculty members from AJK College of Arts and Science and English Literary Research Center for this wonderful arrangement to broadcast this lecture, and all the viewers for your patient listening. Thank you, one and all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. It was indeed inspiring and informative. So let's wind up today's session and meet tomorrow at 4 p.m. for the day two session. Thank you.
Thank you.
மேடம் நிகழ்ச்சி முடிஞ்சுங்களா மேடம்? மேடம் ஜாஸ்மின் மேடம் நிகழ்ச்சி முடிஞ்சுங்களா?